What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 232, and this episode is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that gives us a little kickback and, of course, keeps the podcast ongoing, with me is my co-host, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Not much. Hopefully I look a little better. We were just talking a second ago. I got this new camera a couple weeks ago and I've been using it and hadn't really adjusted anything. Like I put it up to get it up and running and then it was like, oh, I'll do that later. I'll make these settings and I'll adjust my lights and stuff. So I've spent a little bit of time ahead of the podcast.
You look HD, as they say in the entertainment world.
Good.
You look much better. It's crazy what a little bit of lighting can do.
Oh yeah.
I use these above lights, which are like shop lights, which are pretty good for overall lighting, but it would be nice to have some lights kind of more on my face, because if I go down here, you can see it, like it's not as good. But yeah, no, you look really good. I like it. It's an improvement.
Cool. Good.
It'll be improvement for the Twitch stream later. So definitely stay tuned for that. But how's your week been since we talked to you last?
This week's been a mess. Yeah, no, it's just it's been a week, that's for sure, and it's only Tuesday evening, so
it's Wednesday, but
it's Wednesday. That's how it's been. I drove.
No, that's how I felt today. I stayed up super late. Last night.
Maybe that's why you're tired.
Well, that is the reason. One, I was going to talk about the end of the podcast, but hockey's back, so I watched every hockey game that was on yesterday. Up until 1 a.m. last night, and then I woke up and went to the gym, and then I've had this stomach thing all day, so I'm not feeling too hot, but we're going to do the podcast anyways. I don't know if you guys have me on Facebook. You see my girlfriend posted a picture of me sleeping with the dogs. That's what I was doing before I got on here. So it is it's an interesting day, an interesting week for both of us, but we're here to talk tech. Of course, this is a tech podcast. We cover some of the more interesting tech stories, what we find interesting throughout the week. But we'll start with our reviews, and we have some pretty cool stuff and something that Ryan did, which is also very cool. Make sure you have that queued up, by the way.
I got it.
Talking about that. But to start things off, I reviewed a case that we saw at CES back in January, and I was actually really surprised that they sent it, because we don't do custom water cooling builds. This is kind of like a case that's meant for that. But I was really excited to get it into review, and it is the FSP Twings. The product number is the CMT 710, but we just call it the Twings, and it is one of those very it's an open air design. It's high end materials. We have tempered glass. It is all aluminum, so there's no steel on this, so it's very light. And we've seen these. We've seen
Cougar, Antec.
We've seen Cougar, Antec. Who's the one at a Computex every year? Why am I Inwin? Inwin has gone off the rails. They started Inwin has gone a little off the rails, but we usually see cases like this every couple years, and they're a little, really interesting. And FSP, who we mainly know for power supplies, you reviewed a couple of their cases. They're getting into the cases, and I think this is a great way to showcase your brand and showcase that you're not just maybe about power supplies. And I think they've done a really good job with this. This case is really cool for a few reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that it's a dual system case. So it's kind of separated. You can kind of see here from this first picture, it's separated into two unique sides. And you can see just by the design of the case too, it is pretty cool looking. It is kind of like
they all kind of have that sport bike transformer Gundam type look to them, right?
Yes, they do. So this one, as I said, kind of has this really cool design. All of this is aluminum, everything. And then you have tempered glass, which doesn't come installed on the case, which I really like. So when you get the case out of the box, it comes like this. When we talked to them at CES, they said it would come in a kit that you would have to build.
Right.
But I actually like this. the big box, if you guys can, let's see.
I mean, the box didn't seem too crazy, and I do remember like seeing it in person seemed like, wow, is this going to come in a shipping crate or something?
Well, oh wait,
but
the box is right. I always get this stuff when I try to do this, but the box is right there. Yeah, like I said, it comes like this. I think that's good for a lot of people. You don't want to building a PC takes a decent amount of time, and then you don't want to have to put together the case. And a lot of these cases like this do come as kits because in order to assemble things, it has to be a part, which I kind of like this one. This one is more of like the crazy case, maybe for beginners, because it's not very hard to build in either, which we'll get to. But you have this really cool, unique design. The top of it actually looks sort of like a jet. I mean, that's why they call that's why they call it T-wings. And then you have this is an RGB element that you have right here, which we'll get into. So it's really cool. So on one side, the main side here, you have support for up to extended ATX motherboards, very long graphics cards. You can kind of see it in there. It is, and you have all of your openings and things that you would expect. And then on the front of each side, you have these removable cooling brackets, which you can see here. And these support either 120 millimeter fans or 360 millimeter radiators. Yep. So you could do dual 360s on this. There are no fans whatsoever included with this, which doesn't hurt the case all that much, just for the fact that it is an open air design. You don't necessarily need a whole lot of cooling per se in a design like this. So you move in over to the opposite side, we have a mini ITX mounting bracket. And then we have some storage brackets, which kind of come out from the case. They're all removable. You have 3 2.5-inch trays, and then you have 2 3.5-inch trays, which also support 2.5-inch if you wanted to.
Are those pretty sturdy? Like they look like they would almost be you'd be a little worried about them, maybe?
No, they have grooves. They're very sturdy, in my opinion. I didn't notice any issues with those. And they are removable as well, so you can install your drives outside of the case. And what's cool about this is that if you see on the front, we have our I/O here. This is for the ATX system. You have USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C, which is nice to see. And then on the back of the case, you have power and reset and all that for the mini ITX. So a lot of times you don't get that in these dual system chassis. They kind of make you figure it out that way. So it's nice to see that. You can see the top here. As I said, it looks really cool. It's really a high-end case. It's just the design of the case is really high-end. I
like the color scheme too, right? It's kind of a muted gold color with the black.
Yeah, it's let me go back.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It has this sort of black with I guess you would call this sort of a silver or gray, and then you have gold here. There is another variant where this is red, so you can kind of choose, depending on the build that you're doing. But yeah, it's very nice, and I'm sure if you've had a steel case, like you can scratch it pretty easily. I accidentally knocked some stuff into this case while moving, and not a single scratch on it. Nice. So it's very well made, and the quality of the material is there. As far as installation, everything went really well. I didn't have any issues, when you get a case like this, you're like, oh man, this installation is just gonna, because it's not a normal case, but it's so easy. The weird thing is that the ATX power supply goes on the opposite. This goes on the ITX side, and the SFX power supply goes on the ATX side. So you could fit the things in there, but that might confuse some people. But everything goes in. You can see we took the hard drive trays out, put our hard drives in, put them back in. I mean, it was very easy. Now, one thing about this case is that your CPU cooler support.
It's tight.
It is tight. So it's 155 millimeters, which this cooler that we used is exactly 155 millimeters. In order to get it in correctly, we actually removed that top bar. You can kind of see that here. Not a problem. It's it's a couple of these thumb screws, or they're really easy to remove and do all that. So it wasn't a problem, but this kind of sits almost flush with that, which I thought it might be a problem, but we didn't have any issues with vibrations or anything like that. You can see that our graphics card goes in simple. Max graphics card support is 380 millimeters, I believe. So you're more than good there.
Yep. And you can't tell if it's sagging graphics card, right? If it's at that angle.
Yeah, at that angle, it's very true. You cannot. On the opposite side, our hard drives, and you can see kind of our wiring. The wiring wasn't.
So,
go ahead.
I was gonna make note of that. When you showed the hard drives just in the cages by themselves, it looks like there's an opening on the inside where you could route that cabling in between, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it's set up that way. I think the opening is just there for the grooves to go in.
Okay. But you could, if you wanted to get.
So what you can do is, which I didn't do, is that you can separate this case completely. You can take the two halves apart, and there's a middle channel where I actually hid a bunch of cables. You can kind of see some cables here that I hid in that middle channel. You could essentially do that. And I do think that what I talked about in the review is that these cages or trays, they're kind of spaced out pretty far from each other, which they don't need to be, and they just take up extra space. I guess it does look nicer because they're spaced out and they take up like this whole section. But I just think that the hard drives could have been just put differently. I don't know how, but you could have just done it differently. In any case, cable routing, like I said, was pretty easy to do. I didn't have a whole lot of issues. Once you put the panels back on, which are slightly tinted, you really don't see much of it. You know what I mean? The panels go in easily. One thing I really like of what FSP did as well, the panels come not on the case. They come in their own little kind of packaging. Inside the packaging, they're wrapped in like a thin styrofoam, and there's plastic on each side, so you don't accidentally scratch a panel when you're doing your installation. I've done that so many times. Not as much on tempered glass because it's very hard to scratch tempered glass.
Acrylic's the worst though.
But acrylic, you'll scratch instantly.
You look at it scratches.
Yeah. It's bad. Yeah, so it was nice to have that. I think this is a very builder-friendly case in the fact that I didn't have any issues with this case whatsoever. Everything worked out really well. And then we get on to lighting, and the one downside to this case that not a huge fan of, is that in order to light this RGB strip at the top, it does require a 3-pin RGB connection. Now, while most new motherboards have this, some don't, and it's just, I wish it would have had its own controller. You know what I mean? So you're limited to what your motherboard software can do. We had an Aorus motherboard in there, so we have RGB Fusion running this. It looks really good. It's pretty awesome. As you can see, it looks awesome right there.
And so like the whole thing glows, which is kind of nice. The whole panel lights up, it looks like.
Yeah, the whole thing. The distribution of the RGBs and the diffusion is really good. You can see it from the front there. It is really, really cool. So yeah, and then like I said, when it comes to like lighting, this is an open air chassis. There's no other lighting, but you're kind of just set with what we have RGB lighting on our motherboard, on our memory, and on our graphics card. And I really don't think it needs much more than that unless you want to go crazy with it. But yeah, like everything with this case turned out really well. I think we have our temperatures on CPU and GPU, as well as our noise levels. If you guys want to check that out, we just built this test system, so we don't have any other cases to really compare. But this is open air, and it comes with no fans. So especially our noise temperature or noise levels are only going to be with the hardware. I mean, that you install in there, right? It's not going to be, much different. So I think it's a really good thing. I think that they've done a really good job to create something that's really unique, but at the same time, something that's easy to build in. And I think that a lot of these cases, they're harder to build in, right? They're not as much made for beginners. And I think this one, you can easily follow the directions. You can get everything installed. There's no like taking the case apart to install this, install that. The cooling brackets come completely out of the case. So if you are doing a radiator, you can install, or even fans, you can install them outside of the case. It's just,
So what's the price? What are we looking at for price?
So that's where it comes down to, is the price. Right now, this gold version is selling for $474.92. That is expensive. It is all aluminum. So, it is dual system. But I think that I say this case is so easy to build in, but this case is really designed for that high-end builder. Somebody who's going to do a
custom build,
a custom loop in here, maybe multiple graphics cards. Obviously, they're going to do a dual system. But the thing that bothers me about that is that there's no obvious places to mount, say, like a pump or a res. A lot of like made for water coolers cases, these high-end big cases, they have reservoir mounts. There's none in this, which is weird. And it's such a big case, you would think they would kind of make some type of something for that,
a bracket. Because now you're going to be either fabricating something or using a bracket that mounts to like that 360 rad, to your fans, something there.
Yeah, so I think it's a really cool case. I think for their first case like this, they've done a really good job. I don't know what the cost associated with making a steel one of these would be. If they could bring that cost down, I think that would be great for more people.
I think you'd end up with a super heavy case in that, because to keep those panels sturdy enough and rigid enough, they'd have to be so thick that they'd be. I don't know.
Yeah, so I gave this one a 9 out of 10. Again, the biggest thing is price here. Price is a big thing. I talked about the no pump and reservoir mounts. And for some reason, this is weird, but it only came with 4 expansion slot covers when it has 8 expansion slots on one side and 2 on the other, and there's no covers for those.
That's kind of weird.
And like I talked about the storage implementation, it's just a little weird for how much space you have in here. I just feel it's a lot of wasted space. And there's no standalone RGB controller. I'm big on that. If your case has an RGB element, it should
probably have something built in.
Yeah, it should have its own thing. I know all these new motherboards have them, but there's no other way to power it if you don't. So it's kind of wasted if you don't. So those are my thoughts on it. I think it's a really cool case. It was a lot of fun to build in, and I mean, I have it sitting on the graphic there, and it's just awesome. I would love to do like a dual system, like a streaming system in here, where the ATX side is my gaming PC and the ITX side is the streaming PC. It would work out perfectly, and it's all in this. And it's what's nice is you can see the bars on it. You can pick it up from those bars very easily. And the case, because it's aluminum, is lighter, so it's easy to carry around. So I really like it. So definitely check out the review. Really cool case there from FSP. So
cool.
So yeah, one of the more fun reviews I've done lately, I would say. I'd say like last week.
Oh yeah, definitely different.
We had the Corsair one, which was a lot of fun as well. And now we have another one, so let's get some good stuff. We are back with another sound card from Creative, and Paul did this review, and this is the Creative Sound Blaster AE5 Plus. This is an internal sound card, which also includes a DAC, so it can power headphones up to 600 ohms. This, motherboard sound has got really good. We've seen that over the past probably 5 years. Really good, especially with a lot of higher end motherboards. You get really good audio, but sometimes you do want that external sound card for a lot of different reasons. I learned doing my review of the Sound Blaster X3 that having a dedicated sound card definitely has its advantages. The AE5 Plus has a dynamic range of 122 decibels, max resolution playback of 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, and features the ESS Saber Ultra DAC, and it features Dolby Digital Live. So it has a lot of really cool features in it. Because I didn't write this, I'll
I
would say go read the review.
Plus, it's got an RGB controller, right?
Yeah, so it's weird about it. I think Sound Blaster has the right idea, but it's just lost in kind of translation. Is that this sound card does come with an RGB strip, and you can control the RGB strip with their software, which I do like the idea of having one piece of software that runs everything. Like Corsair IQ for me, with all the stuff that I've going on this system, perfect. I don't need anything else. Yep. But it's just weird that this does come with an RGB strip. It's just a little odd to me. But it is a really good card. You can do a lot with it. The biggest thing is that you're seeing these sound cards now be DACs as well, so you can power really nice headphones, which you'd have to get that USB DAC and all this stuff. You can do everything with this. Creative has a really good software. I really do like their software, which we'll get into here in a second, which is called their Sound Blaster Command. Yeah, there's so much in it. Like, it has all of the profiles for different types of games and specific games. Like, it does have the Apex Legend one, which I use when we play with the X3 that I have here. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do. You can set up encoding settings. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. It is really in depth, and if you actually care about your audio and you want to make these changes and have the best experience, getting a dedicated sound card is where it's at. Paul really liked it. I believe he gave this a 9 out of 10 as well. You guys can definitely obviously read the review, but really cool. The RGB strip that comes with it, I don't think is needed. He did give it a 9 out of 10 and recommended award. He said that the X3, which I have, does kind of cut into this, because the X3, in my opinion, too, is more, it gives you more options because it's just one cable and you can take the X3 with you. It doesn't, and you can connect the X3 to a laptop. You can connect the X3 to even a like a PS4, where this internal card, you can't do that. And the X3 does have the Super X-Fi if you want to play around with that, where the AE5 does not. But check out the review.
If it had optical out, which it does.
Yes, it does. It has optical out, as well as the full. Here, I'll go to the picture.
So the one thing I noticed, is it still uses that 4-pin Molex and not SATA? But
yeah, here's the outputs for you, old man. You can see here you do have your optical out right there. So yeah, like I said, it is. I think Creative is doing good stuff. I think that they are the brand when it comes to sound cards, really.
Yeah.
If you're looking to do your own thing, and here's that Molex. I hate to see it. In 2020, I hate to see Molex. I would say that would be a con of this, just because I don't even have it.
I don't even plug that in to my power supply, and now I have to, or use an adapter, which nobody likes to do.
Yeah. So, and here's the RGB strip that it comes with, but yeah, definitely check out that review as well. And Ryan, you did something really cool this past weekend. Kind of surprised me with it.
I did, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Ryan, I'll give you the brief thing of it. He got a Raspberry Pi 4 Model P, which is the new one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I've never heard of this software. Is it software? It's like an operating system.
So the operating system that's running on the Pi is Raspbian, right? It's just a pretty standard OS that a lot of folks use, and then this is an application that runs on top of it.
Okay. So Ryan introduced me to this software called Grafana, which basically allows you to create graphs for any type of data that you have, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it interacts with a lot of databases and data sources to create, as you can see kind of there in that screen, charts, graphs, just beautifies your data, right? If you've ever looked at the Data is Beautiful subreddit, just it's kind of cool as an adult or geeking out, like stuff you would have never thought was cool as a kid is now cool when you see that data represented in a way. And it's kind of weird, like with COVID and everything, you see all these dashboards for like supplies and cases and all sorts of stuff. So it's, kind of playing into our world right now, honestly.
Yeah. So, well, go ahead.
So yeah, I was just gonna say I took some time, got a Raspberry Pi 4, loaded it up with an operating system, and ran through the steps of getting Grafana installed. And I do call it Grafana in the video, and that's just my Midwestern nomenclature coming out. So
yeah,
I may end up like re-recording the sound for this. I don't know. We'll see. But anyhow, it's super simple. Honestly, the video is just over 5 minutes long. So it's, even if you're not going to do it, feel free and take a look, give it a like. But even if like you're following along, I sped up a couple pieces of the video just for like installs and, copying files, but really you can be up and going in less than 30 minutes if you just follow the steps. It's super easy to get going. Now, I don't go into like all the details at all about Grafana or adding data sources to this. This is simply, hey, here's how to take a Raspberry Pi, throw an SD card in your PC, put an OS on it, throw that SD card into your Raspberry Pi, get connected to the Raspberry Pi, and install Grafana. Like, that's it. That's all it is. But it's, just super basic steps to get you at least started on that project.
And then you have this running now, so you can show us, right?
I do. Yeah. And
there you go. You're on here.
Yeah. Did I make an admin? I think. I don't know.
Doing it live. We're doing it live.
Doing it live.
Yeah.
All right. So Ryan, so I got logged in. So this is like running on a Raspberry Pi that's sitting 3 feet away from me over here. So like I haven't touched this since I installed, so I haven't even added my data sources, but I plan to add like my Plex server on here so I can, show how much data that's been using, what the CPU utilization is. There's all sorts of data points that you can graph. You can point it to your NAS to take a look at storage sizes and its throughput. Just really almost endless possibilities with this. So, but it runs super smooth. Like, it is so quick. Running on a little Raspberry Pi. They've got a ton of documentation out there that you can follow along. But yeah, no, it's great. Like I said, I haven't really touched it since then. But I think I'll put together some more videos on like, hey, here's adding your data source. They've got these tutorials on the fundamentals, adding your data source, creating your first dashboard. So we'll probably go through some of that.
Yeah, I haven't done something like that in such a long time. Because obviously everything like runs on Windows. Like, you don't have issues. We have all this other stuff, but it's like,
right.
I like little projects like that. I like learning, and it's like the gratification of like, okay, I did this. Like,
yep.
It's not something
and it's so quick and easy. Like, if you forgot how to do it, or you like got to a point like this, and 6 months later you're like, didn't I set this up, or I'm just gonna restart it. Like, you could be done in 30 minutes again and just start from scratch.
Yeah. You make me want to get one. Get a Raspberry Pi.
I think I have like 6 or 8 Raspberry Pis in the house now doing random stuff.
Yeah, so check out the video. I think it was really cool. Ryan surprised me, and he's like, "Oh, I made this video." I was like, "Oh man, that's pretty awesome." So we have it on our YouTube, and we have it. It's linked in the article as well.
Yeah.
So definitely go ahead and check that out for sure. And for everybody following along, I didn't say we do have our show notes here. So if you guys want to do that, it is in the description of the audio or video that you guys are listening to or watching.
I didn't even mention, like, throughout the video, I have links to, I put the URLs for everything you're going to need at the bottom. All the commands are in there as well. And the links to like the instructions that we followed. Like we followed the official instructions for it. So that's all linked in the article.
Yeah, it's very well done. It's very easy to follow, probably unlike my tutorials that I took before. So definitely check it out. I think it's really cool. It's just like a little project you can do on the weekend, and it's actually useful too. It's nice to have a dashboard to kind of see what's going on, whether it is stuff with your local network, but I'm sure you can like input all kinds of data, into that, and to be able to see it and make it look really cool. I think that's awesome. So that brings us to Case Mod Friday, and this week we have a desk build, which is pretty insane. This is a 13,000 ultimate custom water cooled desk by Designs by IFR. He does a What's really cool, I did want to say this, is that we see all of these case modders now like moving kind of over to YouTube and doing like YouTube build videos, which are awesome. We have his video linked here if you want to check it out. But I think it's just like really cool how they're kind of evolving into doing build videos, and you can get it more like, we can look at these pictures and stuff, but like to actually see them building it, and or a lot of the builders are doing tutorials on how to make your own, custom reses, or all that kind of stuff that we're getting now. I think it's really cool.
For the longest time, we're so used to like going to forums and build threads, right? And like they'd like week by week or day by day, you'd see new pictures, and it's kind of cool to see it on YouTube now.
Yeah, so this is an insane build. It's in the Lianli DK05, and I think, is it dual system or no? No, it's just single system, but pretty high-end system, dual graphics cards, everything's water cooled. You can see the custom, what are these called? Not reservoirs.
The distro plate?
Yeah, distro plate, sorry. The custom distro plates that he has here, the really unique colors, course, Dominator, Platinum, RGBs, like it's a pretty insane build if you look at it. I just like the colors just really pop on this too. It's just really, really cool, and all the different water cooling elements. These which I really actually didn't see up until a couple days ago, was these guitar things that are like
violin.
Is that a violin? Yeah, I guess it's violin. A violin thing that's kind of like holding the tubing up or something. It's just interesting, like these little things that you didn't see. But this is an insane build. We have all the pictures, obviously. We have the video if you want to check it out. Really awesome stuff. It's just all the custom cabling, which I love. To see all that kind of stuff. So definitely check that one out. And of course, as I always say, we have our full section of Case Mod Friday builds, so you can go ahead and check that out. And just a quick reminder on the other stuff we have going on the website. We have a Asus ROG Strix B550F Gaming up for grabs if you want to get in on the contest. Super easy to enter. 12 days left, guys. So still decent amount of time, but you don't want to forget about it. We do it through Gleam, so it's super easy to get your entry in. And yeah, just a motherboard for you guys. We'll have another contest coming after that as well. So definitely get your entry in and stay tuned for the next one on that. And it is on to news, and we have some sad news this week, I would say. Kind of bummed, but I was kind of expecting it just based on what's going on in the United States, specifically the West Coast too, is that CES 2021 has been canceled. I'm bummed.
We'll be all digital, right?
It's canceled. Yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing is that we've seen a lot of these events get canceled. Specifically, the biggest one was E3. They had some type of online thing that we're going to. It just didn't really, I mean, did you hear any big news?
No, but I don't usually pay attention to E3.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of these have said they're going to do some digital thing. We saw some companies do some digital stuff the week of Computex. Thermaltake did a thing, and a couple other companies. But like, did you really hear all about it? It's like,
no.
We were talking about this earlier this week, or yesterday, or earlier today, I forget. But my opinion on this is that as a company, why would I pay the CTA, the company behind CES? Why would I pay them to do a digital event when I can do it myself?
Right. Yeah, and we were kind of talking about that, and I was asking, do you think that companies will do their own showcases or one-on-one meetings with press, all those folks, having their own things. I mean, EK did something a while back as well. They did just a showcase and tutorials and all sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, I'm just curious if any companies are still going to do that interaction with press, or if we're just going to see, hey, here's our press release, or maybe a streaming event, and here's our new products. And if you've got questions, reach out to your rep, maybe.
Yeah, I think that we could have some type of events. I think that just like the EK event, just like the Thermaltake event that they had online for press, it will be run by the company. I don't think any of these companies are going to pay CTA anything, because you can do it all. You have the technology, the actual, I mean, we're running a stream right now on YouTube. They could do it on YouTube. They could do it on Twitch. They could do it. They could do the Q&As through Zoom or whatever. It's not, I just don't see as a company, like, why would we pay CTA to be part of this thing when we can just do our own thing? And the biggest thing is that as the company, you have control over the narrative, or you have control over the length that you can present. You have control over everything. You know, I'm kind of bummed. The biggest thing, and we all talk about it, is that CES, we get to see all our friends.
Yeah.
And we're not going to say that. I get to see you. I get to see you in person, not through the screen.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a bummer. We should try to, I don't even know. I mean, with the way things are, it's like hard to even try to plan a trip these days. You know, but yeah, that's my biggest thing, is just like seeing all our friends, seeing all the reps that we talk with through email or chat, seeing them in person, just kind of, you know, shooting the shit. And just,
I mean, a lot of companies are going to like these virtual happy hours and stuff, right? To just kind of keep people, I don't know, engaged with one another, get, you know, do something different, have a little social piece. Maybe some of them will have to do like some, because I've even heard of companies like, hey, we're going to ship you, you know, what is it? Like a courtesy pack, or like a, I'm missing the word, but you know, it's got some goodies in there, some snacks and whatever, and everybody gets onto this call, and you know, they're just talking and you know, kind of hanging out. So there's lots of stuff you can do, but definitely a bummer not to be able to see everybody and do it in person. And it's nice to get out to Vegas.
And it is. I mean, we're getting into just about August. It is slightly early to make that call. Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, it's just.
But there's so much planning that has to happen into that, and you get like 2 more months in or something, and like all that effort that you put towards that, and who knows what
it's
costs.
Probably the time for them to get their money back for the space at the convention center, right? For that reservation, probably it's like coming up to get that money back. Old Man said nobody wants bad publicity from hosting a big event, nor the chance of someone getting ill and the fallout from that. Yeah, that just makes sense. A lot of people had talked the whole virus thing was because of CES, and there was a big article. I don't know.
It was a while back.
Yeah, in the New York Times about maybe that is actually where this whole thing came from. We don't know. We're not going to speculate. But I'm just bummed. Like I said, I think this was kind of just like, oh man, because I do get excited for CES. I do get excited to see you and, you know, all of our friends in the community. And it's just kind of a bummer. It's Vegas. Vegas is always fun. It's always,
it's fun for a little while. And
yeah, but I mean, like, it's good restaurants and, you know, it's just it's a good place to just hang out with everybody. So, yeah, kind of a bummer, but you know, that's the world we live in now. So it will be interesting to see what companies have, if they're going to have any showcases. Obviously, as we get closer to that time, which would have been January 6th through 9th, as we get closer, if there are any showcases or there's anything going on online that we, you know, would be interested in, we'll obviously tell you guys about it. Or maybe if there is like some type of CES, maybe we'll do a live stream talking about some of the stuff. It all depends on kind of what's going on. So that was a big bummer news, but something really cool happened this week. A benchmark for the NVIDIA Ampere A100, which is their enterprise level GPU, was benchmarked using the Octabench benchmark, and it scored the fastest GPU ever recorded on the benchmark. 43% faster than the RTX 2080 Ti, I believe. So it scored 446 points compared to 302 points by the RTX 2080 Ti, and the Quadro RTX 8000 scores 328 points. Obviously, we knew it was going to be faster, but I mean, 43% faster. But you have to remember, this A100, that is not going to be the GPU that comes to consumers. So keep that in mind. It will obviously be cut down as we get to, you know, you have your 3080 Ti or even the 3090 and go down and go down and go down. But it's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see. You're going to see a lot of this stuff as these new
stuff's going to start becoming more and more popular. So
my buddy just messaged me today about building a new PC, and I was like, he's like, I was like, you might just want to wait, but then we don't know, and it could be end of year 2.
I saw a meme the other day. I don't remember where I saw it. You may have even shared it there, like saying something about, you've got that friend that says, hey, I'm just holding off to build a PC, right? I'm just about to, and then it was like their current PC was like a P3 600 megahertz thing, or a 15-year-old laptop.
I had that problem this week too, which we could get into towards the end of the show here. So talking about graphics, Intel put out a tweet. Intel Graphics, the official Intel Graphics Twitter account, put out a tweet, which was not a hack. We had that big hack of all those those things was it last week or a couple weeks ago? But they put out this tweet right here that says, "You've waited, you've wondered, we'll deliver. In 20 days, expect more details on XE graphics."
Sweet.
Shortly after, the tweet was deleted, so I don't know what was going on. That would put the date at August 14th for this.
We don't know. It was deleted, right? Because then it's like, well, was it real or not?
Yeah, was it real? Did somebody
screw up?
Did somebody schedule a tweet in like a Hootsuite or one of them schedulers and forgot to take it out because things have been delayed? We don't know, but it gets you excited. We talked about it last week as well. That laptop running XE graphics that Ryan Shrout showed off with Battlefield running at 1080p on high settings, just on the iGPU, which is kind of exciting. I want to see a discrete card really bad, and I want to see performance of that discrete card. So we'll see.
Well, maybe we'll see it in a little while.
August 14th. Obviously, if we hear anything, we will definitely let you guys know on that one. Intel also made their 10-core Core i9 10850K official. It showed up in some OEM systems, and people were like, "What is this thing?
What's this thing?"
So this is 10-core 20-thread. Sits a bit lower than product stack than the i9 10900K. Base clock 3.6 gigahertz. Boost goes up to 5.3 gigahertz. Obviously, TDP 125 watts. Now the unit price is $453. Expected to be higher at retail, just because the 10900 is $488 and it sells for like $530, something like that. So it is. I wish we had this chip at launch because it would have made a lot more sense to people. But yeah, it's there. I don't know if people are buying this over a 10900.
It's a 900.
Or 10900. You know what I mean? Because the step down from it is the i7 10700K, which is 8-core 16 threads. So this is your first step up of an unlocked processor.
Yep.
So yeah, it's out there. It's interesting. If maybe you're building an Intel system, it might be something you might want to look at. So talking about CPUs and APUs, we saw the 4000 series Ryzen APUs come out, and an interesting video came out on YouTube by Tech Epiphany. I almost said Epiphany. Tech Epiphany. He had the Ryzen 7 4700G running, and he was running Doom Eternal at 1080p on high settings. It was running decently well, 42 to 47 FPS. Obviously, if you tweaked it a little bit, you could get over 60 FPS. But I think, and I said this, I think I said it last week, is that an APU, if you can do 1080p esports titles, Fortnite, Apex, CES, WoW, like some of these games that if you can do around 60 FPS with those on an APU, I'm all for it, because it just makes so much sense. It's so much cheaper than getting discrete. It uses so much
less power, more battery.
Yeah, I mean, this even building a gaming system for somebody who's doing 1080p, it just makes sense. It does. So it's good to see this stuff out there. These are already out there if you want to pick one up. So
that's pretty neat.
It's really cool. I was impressed by their 3000 series APUs. Just what I mean, I was playing Apex. I think I forget what I was playing it at, but it was playable on it.
You had to dumb it down quite a bit, if I remember.
Yeah, but yeah, I did. But like I said, I think if you can do that on a single chip, I know us as enthusiasts, we love these. I'm looking at my awesome 2080 Super here, just going on it. We love these big graphics cards, but for a lot of people, they can't afford that. It's just not in the cards for them. And if they can do CPU and GPU on a single chip at a good cost that can do what they want, which a lot of people is Fortnite at 1080p,
Sure.
So I think it makes sense. But AMD is zooming along. They had their recent Q2 earnings call, and they put out their timelines for that they're on track with certain products. They confirmed that 5 nanometer Zen 4 CPUs and RDNA 3 GPUs will launch in 2021. I don't know. This says by 2020, but it's in 2021. So by the end of 2021, we will see a 5 nanometer CPU and a 5 nanometer GPU. And I think AMD has been pretty on par with both of their products. We saw 7 nanometer launch on both CPU and GPU at the same time. I think it's good. I think AMD has been pretty on par with their releases. They haven't really been behind or delayed, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to see. Can you believe we're down to 5 nanometer?
It just keeps shrinking. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. And within a couple of years, right? I mean, 14 halved it to 7. Yeah, we'll be on 5 very soon.
Intel's still at 14, but
sure. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to rub it in.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's good to see AMD's on track. They've been really good at that. And I think that's one thing that has also helped them kind of get some more customers, especially in enthusiast space. It's us as consumers. We hate delays. We hate delays for unknown reasons and reasons that we don't know. Like we still don't know why Intel is stuck. There's been a lot of reasons, things, but if it's because of like a global pandemic, that makes sense to us. But because we don't know, and AMD they've said we're releasing this, this, and this, and they've released this, this, and this on time for their customers, which Intel hasn't been able to do. So we had some releases this week as far as products. A couple of them, or one of them, we saw at CES. Hopefully, we'll be getting this out to Ryan to test, but we want to talk about it really quickly. Alphacool introduced their Ice Wolf 2 full cover GPU AIO. One thing that I like about this, and we've seen GPU AIOs, and they're just ugly.
They're
ugly. This looks pretty cool. Good. We got to see this at CES. They look good there. They're expandable, which is like almost all of Alphacool AIO products are expandable. You can see the little quick releases there, so you can add, you can add more to it. Which I think this is great if like you want to get into water cooling, but you're not sure.
And this is like that one step up from a standard AIO, but not quite a full custom loop, right?
Yeah, you have to take apart your graphics card to do this.
Yep.
They offer it in the NVIDIA one that says GeForce RTX, and an AMD one. I think that just says, I don't know what the AMD says.
I thought it said Radeon on it.
Yeah, I think it says Radeon. I'm pretty sure it just says Radeon on it. The NVIDIA one has support for RTX 2080, 2070, or 2080 Ti, 2070. 2080 Super and 2070 Super, all the Founders Edition cards. I like these. I just think it looks good. It kind of gives you the feel of a custom loop without all the hassle. The pump is a little big, but it's not like, I mean, this is what it looks like. I mean, it's a little big, but I don't think it's
not
too
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's horrible. Like I said, I think Alphacool's done a good job, and it gives you kind of just like a good starting point. If you wanted to add something to the loop, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I think they've done a good job on it. So, I forget I don't know if they listed the pricing
I don't think
here.
they did.
But they do. It is available 240, 280, and 360. So kind of whatever you wanted to do there, you can go ahead and do that. The AMD versions 5700 and 5700 XT reference designs. So yeah, pretty good stuff there. I think it looks like
yep. I'm pretty sure mine is a reference card, so we'll have to
we'll reach out
get
to
with them and yeah.
And Logitech G, who's been putting out some pretty good products in the gaming realm. They just partnered with Herman Miller on that. How expensive was that gaming chair?
I don't know.
I think it's $1,500. Yeah, $1,500 chair. But they have a new wireless gaming headset which uses their Lightspeed wireless technology, which I have used and it is very good. So one, tell me what you think of the look of this as a gaming headset. Your headset looks eerily similar with these what is it, like aluminum sort of
disc
almost things.
Plate.
One thing I do like, which I think is really cool, is this is a removable microphone. Uses a Type-C connection, which I absolutely
That's what I was wondering. It looked like yeah. So I think they look cool. The like the U shape to hold the ear cups reminds me of like a HyperX cloud design. No, I think they look good.
Yeah, I do think they look good. Obviously, this is either steel or aluminum, so it's going to be pretty heavy duty, and it's not going to break, which is the biggest thing. So I've thrown headsets. So and here's the thing, $200.
Okay, better be made out
$200, but 42 feet range, 20 hours battery. I like it. DTS 7.1 surround sound. And it uses their since they acquired Blue 3 years ago, it uses Blue voice software as well. So a lot of cool stuff. I really would like to hear the microphone on this. I think that's a big part of that collaboration is the microphone, but I like it. $200 is a lot, but I mean your headset that you're wearing now is around that price, is it not?
Yeah.
It's around $200. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think that Logitech has done a really good job on gaming keyboards and mice. And to move over, have seen some of their headsets. They weren't necessarily anything to write home about, but I think this one they've taken a lot of feedback and looks good to me. I think it looks really good. So yeah, that is exciting. Epic Games Store. Summer sale. It is summer. Wasn't the first? Yeah, we're almost into August, which seems like summer's over already.
Crazy.
But Epic Games is having their summer sale. It started July 23rd. It goes to August 6th. I did see some good stuff on here. Borderlands 3. I did see. Let's see what we got here. Let's take a load. So yeah, Borderlands 3 is $30. Which is good. Red Dead Redemption 2, the price is horrible. It's $47.99. It's been cheaper than that before. But there are some decent games on here that are on sale, maybe worth picking up if you wanted to. Far Cry 5 is only $9. That's a great game to play. There's a
Far Cry. I don't even recognize Far Cry 3. Blood Dragon.
That's an expansion, I think.
Is it just an expansion? Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff on here. Division 2.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's only $10. Metro Exodus. Holy crap. Metro Exodus is $17.99. I just bought it a couple months ago for $60, I think.
Ouch.
I bought it on Steam, but yeah. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, $30, which is good, which I paid full price for it as well. But there's a decent amount of stuff on here worth checking out. I know some people don't like Epic Games Store, but it works. I don't have a problem with it. I think more people are mad to have like 7 different loaders, but that's just kind of how the world we live in these days with that. But definitely check that out. Always love summer sale for sure. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, we didn't write an article on it. I didn't really have time to write one, and it's not necessarily like our thing because we're mainly PC hardware, but I wanted to talk about it. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Joe Rogan, know his podcast. He's probably one of the most popular podcasts in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I listen to his podcast a lot. I think he's really good. But he had some interesting comments, which we have the article linked in the show notes if you want to check it out. And it's to this, somebody has it on video here from the podcast of him talking about video games. And he basically said that video games are a real problem and that you don't get anywhere. And he basically said that they're a waste of time. Video went out.
There we go.
Okay, we're back in. I don't know why the video went out, but he said that, that video games are a waste of time, and that he kind of said that, he's into he obviously, because he's one of the announcers for UFC, is really into martial arts and jiu-jitsu, and he kind of said, you could train at jiu-jitsu for 3 years and be one of the top jiu-jitsu people, and you could, open your own school and do all that. But I think he doesn't really kind of see what you could do with gaming. You kind of do the same thing. I mean, if I
train for 3 years and
it's not even about being, I don't even have to be the best player per se, right?
Like, you don't even have to be good.
I could be an entertaining streamer and make more than even a professional player, right?
Yeah.
I could also become good enough where people, I could become a trainer and I could train people, or I could become a coach for a team, or a lot of players, especially in the era that I grew up in, a lot of like professional Counter-Strike players went on to become broadcasters to broadcast matches, and they went that route. You could also say that I believe I think I watched a video about Dr. Disrespect because you're really into him. But he was a professional gamer, and then he worked because he was a professional gamer.
Call of Duty mapped design work and everything.
Yeah, and he got into the gaming. He got a job with Call of Duty to help make the game, and there's a lot of gamers that have done that. You also see that with these gaming teams, they work with companies. They work with the Logitechs, the Corsairs, the whoever, to actually help design the products that we use, because they want a gamer's take on whatever the product is. And I just think that I don't know how many people out there are training jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts, but there's only a few avenues that you can really go. You can either compete and try to make it to the UFC or any of the other promotions. You open a gym or training. What else is there? I don't
know. I'm not familiar enough with it to know.
And I know that we're coming from the side of gamers, but I just think that him saying that is kind of like, and he's respected by so many people that his opinion carries a lot. And I just think that he just doesn't get what gaming can bring.
Sure. I like old man's comment here. He said anything taken to excess can be damaging. People like to focus on games, essentially. I agree with that. And Joe even said, like, he used to play them all the time. He at one point said, like, I used to spend 12 hours playing I forget what games they were, but it's like he was essentially addicted, right? Like, I don't know that I could count on one hand probably the times I've played games for 12 hours straight, right? Like, there's so in instances like that, that might not be the best use of time and a waste of time and bad for people, right? But he also, I think the article kind of mentioned, some like gambling and things like that, how that can get out of hand. But I don't know. I mean, he's a talking head. He's got to have a strong opinion. Whatever.
I just think that there's so many opportunities for people, whether it's becoming a professional gamer, whether it's getting into content creation. We saw, especially I was growing up, red versus blue was like a thing. and then all of those guys went on to do other stuff. Then you have now content creators, people creating videos, and that's what they do. And then we just have streamers. I mean, streaming is just like the biggest thing now. All these streamers make you can make so much money doing that. You have, and in the professional realm, you have being a broadcaster, working with a gaming company. I mean, there's so many avenues that where gaming can take you. I just felt that it was just weird to say that they're just they're a waste of time, because yes, gaming can be a waste of time, but it can also be an avenue where you can have a career in, whether it's any of those avenues. And we didn't even get into game design. You like gaming so much, you want to design your own game. We've seen so many people do that as well. So if you want to check out the article, we do have it linked in the show notes, but I just think it was very one-sided, and as a gaming community, I think we need to fight back against that, or have him open his eyes. I know that Ninja did make a video about it, kind of going back, kind of saying what I said, and there's some other things in there. So if you guys want to follow up on that, we have it linked in the show notes. And we have some cool stuff coming up next week. I was reading something, I just got completely lost there. So coming up next week, we have some cool products. You're taking a look at a product that is illuminating your face right now. It is the Elgato Keylight Air. You have two of them, right?
I do. I only have one hooked up right now. The other's right over here getting some additional shots. So this light that's actually lighting me up this side is a different light. But yeah, I've got one hooked up right now, controlling it via the old Stream Deck, so we can just kill it, pop it back on. Yep.
Yeah, so they're basically lights made for streamers. They have a mobile app that you can do and control and set different things. You can set the temperature of the light as well, right?
Temperature, brightness. Yep.
Yeah. So it's great for streamers. So we'll have that for you guys next week, and then I'll be taking a look at a Gen 3 NVMe SSD. It is the Sabrent Rocket Q. This has been out for a little bit. They actually announced I don't even think it's on here. I think they announced this in 8 terabyte. Yeah, they have an 8 terabyte. I have the 1 terabyte version, but they offered an 8 terabyte. Very fast, 3400 read and 3000 write. Awesome little Gen 3 drive. So I will have that for you guys. And then taking a look at a monitor, another monitor. And this is not a widescreen. This is a normal, I guess, what do you call it? Flat screen, or not it's not curved. It's not widescreen. It's normal 1080p, but it's 240 hertz, which is going to be fun to play with. So it is the Viotech GFT 27 CXB, which is a 27-inch 1080p gaming monitor. It is an TN panel. Sorry, it needs to be TN panel. 240 hertz, 1 ms response time, FreeSync and G-Sync ready. This is your ultimate like Counter-Strike, really high frame rates. Yep. And I do have the Corsair one, which is I'm going to use to push this because it has the 2080 Ti in there.
Yeah.
So I'll have some fun playing. I
mean, I've been using this Viotech panel for quite a while, and I'm pretty happy with it.
I also have a Viotech panel in front of me too. They've worked out really well. So this one, this is more for like the competitive player. So we'll have that review for you as well. And I did get a monitor calibrator thingy, cool. Data Color X Spider. So this, I didn't get it for the Cooler Master monitor review, but I will have it for this one. So we'll be able to do all that kind of fun stuff with that as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. And that brings us to the end. Wait, did you? We always talk about if we did anything cool, saw anything cool.
Yeah, well, I made a spur of the moment purchase and upgraded my RAM. I went with 64 gigs of Corsair, not Dominator, unfortunately, but Vengeance RGB Pro memory. Nice. So got 6 of 16 gig in there, and I was just kind of hitting my memory limit during video and doing stuff. So I just was like, let's look at this, and they were on sale. So yeah, couldn't pass it up.
When you get into video editing, you crush your memory.
Yep.
So yeah, I have 64 in this, and this is my video editing rig and my gaming rig. So nice to it's a nice upgrade. You never look at it anymore. You're like, oh man, I'm at that, I'm using 90-80% of my available memory. Now you just don't even look at it really. And if you are using a lot, then you're doing something crazy when you have 64. So yeah, I'm trying to think if I did anything, if I watched anything. I haven't watched any movies.
Yeah,
I always think that I like do something and I don't. Hockey is back, like I said, so I'll be watching that. It's very interesting. So
what are they doing for those games, like fan-wise or anything?
So they're in a bubble, which means like they're in a place where only the players can go, and and like the players, the media, and that's basically it. Their families aren't even there. And it's only in 2 cities. It's in Toronto and Edmonton. And there's no fans, which is the weirdest thing to watch a game with no fans.
Yeah.
They have it set up and they're pretty cool. And I couldn't tell, me being like the AV geek I am, I'm pretty sure they're using drones to get different views now because there's no fans in there anymore. Right.
Oh, you can fly a drone, right? You don't think they're using those lines that they use like in the NFL?
I thought that, but I was like, this thing is moving in a direct, like it's I don't know what they're doing, but it is pretty cool. It's good to have hockey back. It's just it is a little weird, and with no fans, it's
crazy weirder. Hockey fans pressed up against the glass and
no, like as a player, like if you score,
the sound.
There's nothing there. If you make a big hit, there's nothing. I mean, you have your teammate, but it's just not, and most of these guys, since they were like 8 years old, they've played it in front of like at least like 20 people. I mean, there's there's nobody there. So it's interesting, but I'm glad to have hockey back. That's like my favorite sport. Basketball's coming back, same kind of thing. Baseball is back, but I don't know if you heard about what was the team in Florida?
The Marlins.
Yeah, they had to forfeit. So yeah, it's good. It's interesting. But yeah, there hasn't been anything good on like streaming, anything. There needs to be like a new movie to get excited about.
Yeah,
but there isn't. So
not. I was excited for like live action Milan. And
you have to talk to Kayla. That's her favorite movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell her you said that. But yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end things here. We really appreciate everybody who has hung out with us here on Wednesday evening. If you want to stick with us, we will be streaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. We'll be over there in about 10 minutes. We want Ryan's probably get all set up and do all that kind of stuff. Playing Apex, probably. I don't have any other games installed on this computer, so.
I had to do the rebuild.
Since I had to do the rebuild, so that's.
I gotta go check the weather, man. We're in a severe thunderstorm warning all of a sudden, so see what's going on.
Well, hopefully, Ryan's power doesn't go out, but we will be over on Twitch again, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Thank everybody again for stopping by, and we will see